Today I thought we would do a special about a very common bullet. This has been used for about 100 years now, and that is the 45 ball ammo. And I made this as to military specification. Now this is something that you can argue about for years, and I don't want to argue about it. We'll just use some general terminology. I have read stuff in Wikipedia, and I've read some old military magazines that calls ball ammo a 230 grain projectile. Is a ball type, full metal jacket. It's a soft lead on the inside, full metal jacket case, and it is supposed to be right at 820 feet per second. Some places will say 815, some are 810. If you buy a box of Winchester ball ammo today that they call military ball ammo, theirs is 855 or 865, depending on which box you get. That's way over mil spec. If you break out a Spear reloading manual, take your bullseye powder out, it's going to tell you can load this for a starting load of 5.2 grains of bullseye powder and take it all the way up to 5.7 grains for your max. 5.7 grains with this bullet in a standard GI 1911 will produce 840 feet per second. 840 is your max, and that's not the Winchester spec of today. It's 865 or 855 depending on which box you bought that day at the store. So all that being said, ball ammo 230 grain is approximately 800 foot a second. Now today it really is going to be 800 feet a second, because even in my hand loads that are going to be right at 820 for a 5-inch gun, we're going to be shooting the Ronin, and it is a 4¼ inch barrel. So we're going to call this today 800 feet per second. The energy of this round is going to be really close, right at 350 foot-pounds. And someone's going to say, oh my gosh, it's supposed to be pound-feet. Okay, for the pound-feeters, this is going to be 350 pound-feet or 350 foot-pounds of energy. I say torque, and somebody, their hairpiece will blow off in the breeze. But torque is measured in foot-pounds. I'll let you do the figuring on that. So here's what we're going to do with this today. I'm going to shoot water jugs with this, and I want to demonstrate that this ball ammo, military ball ammo, is for a military setting. This was designed to go out into the field and shoot at bad guys, and you did not care where the bullet went. If it went through one bad guy, German or Japanese, whoever we happened to be fighting at the time, it went through one and then through another and then through another, and then blew the track off of a tank or blew the barrel off a tank or whatever, then that was fine. And that's, of course, a little bit of humor added in there. But you didn't worry about it over penetrating. The only job of that bullet was to blow a hole through a bad guy. That's all its job was. It wasn't going to expand. It wasn't going to give a huge temporary wound channel. It wasn't going to give a huge permanent wound channel. It's going to be like taking a copper antenna off a car that happened to be 0.450 in diameter and just running it through like the French would with one of their little Frenchy swords. Just run the guy through with it, and that's all it did. It wasn't magical. It was designed to make an entrance wound, an exit wound, so you had two places that you could leak, blood pressure dropped down to 0, and then the bad guy was dead, the enemy was dead. But that's ball ammo. Now, that being said, this was what John Moses Browning designed the 1911 around. Its feed throat, the way the ramp and all that was built around ball. We now have current hollow point ammo that's the same shape, might have a little rubber tip, might have other things added to it, but the OGAV, the curve itself, is the same. So they've got now, and used to they didn't have that. Used to they had hollow points, and they were terrible. They'd jam a gun up. But we want to compare this. I want you to realize, just because you got a cheap box of ball ammo laying around and use this for target practice, don't be a tightwad. Don't be as tight as bark on a tree and use that. Don't use that for home defense. That's not a good idea, because it will shoot through the one bad guy and can go through sheetrock one or two more times and then find your little girl laying back there in the bed or little boy laying back there in the bed reading their nighttime story, and you're in there shooting the bad guy, and then when the case comes to an end, you're going to be facing a manslaughter charge for neglecting the charge and sending it somewhere that it wasn't supposed to go. So don't use this. Please do not use this in a family setting. If I could say the scope of this video was one thing, I would focus on this. Let's make this video a safety video on why you don't want to use ball ammo. And so someone will say, well, I use 9mm. It's even worse. It's even worse because its diameter is smaller and it penetrates even more. Even if the bullet's lighter, doesn't matter. It's going to penetrate more. So can you prove that? Yes. Take you a cordless drill, put a 3/8 bit in it, and then put a 1/2 drill bit in it. Try to go through a thin piece of plate steel and see which one penetrates the best. The smaller diameter bit ends up being the starter bit, and then you go to a bigger bit. It's just how it works. So the bigger the diameter, it's going to have a little less travel. The weight on this helps to carry it, so that is a factor too. So whether it is 230 ball or whether it's 185 ball, this is for target practice, or if it's 230 ball, that is a GI mil-spec round to go out and take on the bad guy out in the field, a military or target application. Don't use that for self-protection, and do not use that in the home. So we're going to prove that today. Here's how I'm going to do it. You can see the jugs of water here. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 jugs of water, and in the background I've got a little wooden step. This is for our birthing boxes. That little wooden step is just a sheet of plywood and a 2x4 frame, but it has no holes in it, so I'm going to let that be my backstop. And if we end up shooting through all those jugs, we'll clearly see a hole. So I'm going to go ahead and zoom this in. And we're going to make one shot. I want you to see this. And after this, we will shoot some high-tech Hornady critical defense ammo. I want you to see this. Of course, we're gonna, after I make the shot, we're going to look at every single jug and see who has an entrance and an exit wound and all that jazz morass. All right, here we go. So the old 45. Like I say, this is a Springfield Ronin. It is 45 caliber. I'll check, make sure we got one in the tube, and we do. And now we're going to shoot this point blank. I don't want to shoot it across the yard because who knows if I'm going to hit anything. I really need it to be dead center so that we can observe that it goes. I see people do this all the time on videos. They shoot it and they're out 20, 30 yards and they hit here, and then it slides out the side and they get no dependable information. So the only reason I'm shooting so close is I want to make absolutely sure that I hit the center of the jug so it travels down the center of the jug. So here we go, point blank. I'm going to get wet. Everybody can laugh now. Let's see how many jugs that this goes through. Let's do this on a count of 5. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ah, that was nice. Safety is on. Gun is safe. Back in the holster. Yes, I definitely got wet. So, yeah. First jug, we have an entrance. We do not have the explosiveness that you would expect out of a hollow point. It did rip the front of it down. We have an exit wound. So there's jug 1. Jug number 2. We have an entrance wound and an exit wound, and they look almost the same. It's kind of surprising, but that's not indented. That's pooched out on both sides. You can't tell entrance from exit. That's number 2. Number 3, entrance and an exit, empty jug. I shot a little low, tried to stay low on purpose. Number 4, entrance and an exit, busted the jug. No, definitely no expansion of the bullet. Number 5, jug number 5, entrance and exit wound. And now I got to get over here in the back side. Good news on our board. Doesn't look like we got anything on the board. Let's see here. Wow. It does look like I have a bullet mark. I have a bullet mark on that board. And here's what we got. Let's see, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 jugs. 5 jugs went through. Then we get over here to the clear ones. And we got an entrance and an exit. That's number 6. We got an entrance and an exit. That's number 7. 7 jugs it went through. And like I said, the board, it looks like we have a small mark on the board. And that mark is down low. Right here is where the mark is. Did not penetrate, okay? But if you shot a bad guy, let's say he was the equivalent of about 3 jugs of water, it would have gone right on through the bad guy, through the sheetrock, and into another room. So 7 jugs of water, and I see the bullet. I just found the bullet right there. There's the bullet, all right? I found the bullet. It literally blew off that wood and bounced back a little bit. Let's look at this. Well, there is the bullet that we have captured right here from the 7 jugs of water. And that was very informative that full metal jacket, 230 grain ball ammo, that's a military style piece of ammo there. It went right through 7 jugs of water. And that is the reason that you do not want to use that particular bullet right there for your home defense purposes. I would not want to even use that for out in the public defense purposes, because that is going to shoot through the bad guy, and then you're going to be responsible for whatever it hits after that. So just want everybody to stop and think about that. Let's just call this ball ammo from now on. Let's call this really good ammo for military use, which is what it was designed for, or for our target load. I load 2 different loads here at the house, which is the cheapest, easiest ones to load. I load a 230 grain, and now I have started to use the 185 grain ball ammo. It's a hollow base 185 grain, and it looks just like the mil spec, and I can load that down slower speeds, less recoil, and makes a really good target load for home use, for kids, for my wife. The 185 grain is 30% less recoil automatically than a 230 grain, just by virtue of its weight. And then a little less powder, get that down to about 750 feet per second, and that's a very accurate load with low recoil. But as you saw today with the military load, that is great for blowing a hole through something with 350 foot-pounds of energy. It's going to go right on through the bad guy and maybe get another bad guy, or who knows what. In the military setting, just fine. Ball ammo is great for military or for punching holes in paper. But when it comes to home protection or protection of self, we definitely want to be more responsible and switch over to a nice hollow point. So that's the very next test that we're going to look at. We're going to look at some of the Hornady's critical defense, and I will guarantee you that it will not go through 7 jugs of water. I highly doubt that it will go through 3 jugs of water. I bet it gets captured on jug number 3. So any bets, place your bets. We're going to see how many jugs we can go through with a nice, professional, critical defense hollow point. We will see you back on the next test. Over and out for now. Today I thought we would try out something new here. For many years I have shot ball ammo and really believed in ball ammo because I never did find any hollow points that I really liked that much. And Hornady has really impressed me with some of their ballistic tip stuff. I've shot some chickens with my 110 grain ballistic tip bullet, just an exploding bullet. And Hornady's engineering is excellent. So today we're going to try out Hornady Critical Defense. This is 45 caliber round, and we are dropping down from Grandpa's old 230 grain ball ammo down to 185 grain, and this will come out of the tube at 1,000 feet per second. So I wanted to try it on some water jugs today, and we'll make this short and sweet, and then I'll piece together some other things we're going to look at. We'll definitely want to check it for weight and expansion. Got the calipers, got the digital scales out. And today's test gun is going to be the Springfield Ronin. This is commander size, 4 1/4. Let's do a quick check on the chamber. We do have one in the chamber. That is a nice nickel plated round, which is really easy to see. I like that. So let's take a look at this. Point blank shooting. We got 4 jugs of water. We've got a little wooden backstop to make absolutely sure the bullet doesn't get away. Pretty thick piece of wood. So we'll give this a try. Probably going to get a little water on me, but that's okay. So here we go on 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And I did get a little water on me, but that's okay. When you're in a close combat situation, it could go just like that. So let's take a look and see if we can find that bullet. The first container, as you can see, completely exploded. It is history and empty. The second container took the bullet. There's an entrance wound and an exit wound, and it is empty. I didn't shoot ballistic gelatin today, but I can tell you from all the tests I've read, it'll do 14 inches in FBI ballistic gelatin. And we have jug number 3, and I see it has not lost all of its water. That's a good sign. There's an entrance wound on jug number 3, and I do not see an exit wound. So our bullet is in there. I see the little red ball right there jumping up and down. That little red ball in the tip of that bullet has a very important job. It looks like a long pencil eraser. I'm sure it's made out of a special plastic, but as that plastic pushes down, it starts to balloon out and make a pancake, kind of a flat pancake coming out, and it makes those lips curl back. And that's all you need, those copper jacketed lips to curl back. As soon as they do, they're gonna curl the rest of the way. Kind of like the old suicide car doors in the 30s, I think 30s and 40s, they had some doors. They weren't hinged like the doors today, hinged on the front, open like that. They were hinged on the back. And so when you open them, if you drove a little too close to a pole, it's going to trim your car door off. That's the same thing this bullet's doing. So let's take a look at this. Dump this out very carefully, because I want to get that bullet. Man, I want that little piece of red rubber too. Where did he go? Oh, here he is. He did not get away. He acted like he was going to get away, but he didn't get away. He got close to getting away. And there's not much of him left. Wow, that is really small. If you can see that, that really is a small piece of rubber. I guess it damaged it some. You can see that, about the size of a piece of popcorn. Hold it like that, you can see a little bit better. And the bullet is absolutely beautiful. I cannot believe how nice that bullet is. I mean, that thing is super nice. So I'll get back with you here in a minute, and we'll get the calipers out and start doing some super scientific analyzing, and zoom in a little closer so you can see it a little bit better. So over and out for now. And that's jug 3. Jug number 4 is fully intact. Never got to jug number 4. So that's the kind of stuff you want to shoot right there in your home, so that you don't accidentally shoot through a bad guy and 2 or 3 walls and shoot your children. So thanks for watching. Okay, time to do a little analyzing after the shot. And I'd like to talk to you a little bit about the reason that I've switched on my ammo. I use this ammo right here for a number of years, just because it was cheap more than anything else. It was my own reloads, 230 grain ball ammo. It's what I was raised with. It's what I shot in the military. And the more I started studying the hollow points, at first they just didn't do that great. They had problems with getting clogged up. Just about anything you shot would clog them up. They wouldn't act like a hollow point. They still act like a full metal jacket. But these Hornady critical defense have overcome that easily. They've got a special little rubber tip in them, a little hardened plastic tip. That little tip right there is designed, as you push it down, it's going to expand outward. It's built kind of like a pencil eraser. That's what it looks like if you took a brand new one out of if you could take it out of there. But anyway, as it pushes down, instead of staying a tall cylinder, it turns more into a pancake, and it pushes these little copper lips out. And as soon as they start to go out, of course traveling at 1,000 feet a second, they're going to fold back. And that's what you end up with, is this nice design right here. It looks like a beautiful flower petal. We want to take a look and see how much that we lost on this. Let me zero out my scale here. Put that at 0. I don't know if that's going to show up on the screen, but I can read it to you, tell you what we got. That is showing at 175 grains, 175.8 grains. I would tilt that up and show you, but it's going to mess up my reading. 175.8. This is a 185 grain bullet, so it retained a very large percentage of its weight, which is going to keep it traveling if you had to shoot a bad guy. Let's take a look at what it did for diameter. We know the original diameter was 0.451, and now that it has hit the water jugs, it stopped in water jug number 3. What I'm going to do to make this easy, I'm going to get my reading on here so it can't fall. I get the biggest point, widest point, and then I'm going to lock that in on the calipers so that you can see it. And that is pretty impressive. That is 0.739. So we're talking about going from a 1/2 inch bullet up to basically 3/4 of an inch bullet traveling through you. That would really cause some severe temporary wound channel, and definitely a very serious 3/4 inch. If that was a drill bit, that'd be basically 3/4 inch drill bit, and it will go through gel, ballistic gelatin, up to 14 inches with this critical defense. Now I know Hornady makes one called critical duty, and it adds about 6 to 8 more inches to that. That would be for a police officer or somebody that may have to shoot through a car door or something a little more radical than home protection. But this is what I'm going to use from now on, home protection. You can see the little bitty red tip here that was down inside there, and it has, I guess it ballooned out. It definitely has got a flare to it. It chewed it up a little bit. It looks like a flower that bloomed, and then it closed back up as the night got cold. So whatever that is, it feels like a pencil eraser. Feels like about the same consistency, but it's definitely designed to expand. So that was sitting down in there like that, and as soon as it touched that water jug, just the skin of that water jug was enough to get that to expand back. And I didn't use any denim on this. I don't see the need in that, but you're not going to stop one of these babies up. That's just all there is to it. The other thing I like about these is the way that they sound when I chamber them in the gun. Let's have a look at that real quick. We'll put one of these in the magazine here. Lock this magazine, lock this slide to the rear, load the magazine, and listen how smooth that sounds when you chamber that round, and watch it go. Here we go. Very smooth. Put safety on. Let's do that again. One live round out. It ejects very easy. We'll go ahead and just cycle it this time. Cycling. Here we go. Let it fly. Sounds great. Do it one more time. Take the live round out. I'm in a very safe location out in the woods. Woods in front of me. No problem. All right, there it is. One more time. And real quiet, real careful. Now watch this. Now that's a pretty good test. I say that because This particular pistol is a shorter than normal 45. Standard 45, government model would be a 5-inch, and this is the commander size, which is 4 1/4. 4 1/4 is known for having a fairly steep angle on your feed ramp. This one has a feed ramp type barrel, and it's a little bit steeper than a regular 5-inch gun, but it chambers good and smooth. It has had no problems with reliability. I've shot several of these already, so I'm real happy with this. I think that this gives me a new instilled confidence in this particular bullet. If I had to shoot a bad guy in my home, I would much rather use that, knowing that it's probably going to dump all of its energy. This will have right at 400, I think it's 412 or 13 foot-pounds. Let's just call it 400. It travels at about 1,000 feet a second. It produces about 400 foot-pounds of energy out of a short barrel gun, 4 3/4 inch barrel. And these, the old-timey 230 grain ball ammo, are very good in the Army when you're out in the field and you're wanting to shoot through a bad guy, the enemy, and you don't care if it goes through him and takes out another bad guy. But when you're in your home setting, you don't want to just be shooting through the problem and then through a wall and through another wall and then find out that you have injured or done even worse to one of your family members, your wife, one of your children, a dog, you know, a pet canary, whatever. You don't want to shoot anything extra. If you're having to take care of a problem and it is a bad guy, an intruder in your home, you want to dump all the energy into him and not even pass through him and get the job done. So Hornady has done a lot of engineering on this critical defense ammo. There's your numbers on there if you need to see those. That is a 45 auto, 185 grain, traveling at 1,000 feet a second. They rated that in a 3-inch barrel. So with a 4 3/4, I may be getting a little bit more speed than 1,000. But let's just call it 1,000. 1,000 feet per second. It hits hard. It opens good every time. This was found in jug number 3. I brought that over here to let you see it also. And you'll see right there, there's the entrance wound. You can see my finger going in there. And if you watch the alignment of that, you will clearly see no exit wound on that jug. So shot through 2 jugs and stopped on jug number 3, and I was able to pour the water out, and this is what was inside the jug. That and that inside the jug. So 3 jugs of water. You're welcome to try that yourself if you've got a 45, whether it's a 4 3/4 inch or a 5-inch government model. Go ahead and get you 3 or 4 jugs of water, line them up. I shot it point blank as you saw it, put water all over me, but I'm not a snowflake, so I didn't melt. I wasn't worried about it. I wanted it to seem kind of like a combat situation, kind of up close and personal, so that's what we had. So appreciate y'all watching and hope that you learned something from this. Please, please use these in your home for self-protection, and use them out on the street too for self-protection so that you don't go shooting through somebody and somebody else and somebody else. This is for the Army. This is for military men out in a military setting. These are for civilians in a civilian setting for personal protection of yourself, your loved ones. So thank you very much, Hornady, for building such a wonderful bullet, and I'm glad that I bought these, so I hope you enjoyed it. Again, please click on that little like and subscribe button. That'd be greatly appreciated. Over and out for now.